You're going to die. I'm going to die. Everyone you know will eventually be gone. Uncomfortable truth? Maybe. But here's what's worse. Most people live as if death is just a distant theory, not an approaching reality. The average human gets roughly 4,000 weeks on this planet. If you're 25, you've burned through 1,300 of them. If you're 40, more than 2,000 are already history. And here's the kicker. You're treating your remaining weeks like they're unlimited. I'll travel when I retire. I'll pursue my passion once things settle down. I'll fix that relationship eventually. Eventually, it is the graveyard where dreams go to die. In the next few minutes, I'm going to challenge everything you think you know about living. Not time management fluff, not productivity hacks. We're talking about the raw, uncomfortable strategies for living like tomorrow isn't promised. Because it isn't. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Permanence. Your brain is lying to you right now. It's built to assume continuity, to believe that today's pattern will repeat tomorrow. This isn't a flaw. It's survival programming. Our ancestors needed to assume the sun would rise, that the river would still be there. But this same wiring creates a dangerous delusion, the permanence illusion. You unconsciously believe your parents will always be a phone call away, that your health will bounce back like it did in your 20s, that opportunities will keep knocking, that you'll have time to make things right. Walk through your house right now. Every object there, you assume will still exist tomorrow. That's reasonable. But extend that assumption to people, to your own abilities, to chances you've been given. That's where the illusion becomes dangerous. Your mind tricks you into treating the temporary as permanent. It's a cognitive shortcut. If you constantly remembered that everything could vanish, you'd be paralyzed. So your brain smooths over the uncertainty. It creates a false sense of stability. But stability is the exception, not the rule. Change is constant. Loss is inevitable. Endings come without warning. Here's what breaks this illusion. Every single thing in your life is on borrowed time. Your relationship, temporary. Your health, degrading daily. That friend you've been meaning to call, they might not answer next month. Think about the last normal moment you had with someone before they were gone. You didn't know it was the last time. Nobody ever does. You said see you later when it was actually goodbye forever. Maybe it was a casual Tuesday, an ordinary conversation. Nothing felt significant, and then circumstances changed. Distance, death, a falling out, and that mundane moment became the final one. You can't rewind it. You can't add weight to it. You can't say what you should have said. It's sealed in time, and you didn't even know to pay attention. This isn't pessimism. It's clarity. When you truly internalize that everything is temporary, something shifts. That grudge you're holding suddenly feels stupid. That dream you're postponing, suddenly urgent. That conversation you're avoiding, suddenly necessary. The things you thought you had time for reveal themselves as time-sensitive emergencies. That apology you've been crafting for months, your window to deliver it could close tomorrow. That adventure you've been planning for, the right moment. There is no right moment. There's only this moment. People talk about living like there's no tomorrow as reckless behavior. But what if it's the sanest possible mindset? What if pretending you have unlimited tomorrows is the actual delusion? Here's your first action. Write down 3 things you're treating as permanent. A relationship, a capability, an opportunity. Now rewrite that list with the truth. This could end tomorrow. Your job could be gone with one phone call. Your mobility, one accident away from never walking the same again. Your closest friend, living their own life that could diverge from yours at any point. Feel that discomfort? That's the feeling of waking up. That tightness in your chest isn't anxiety. It's awareness. It's the protective bubble of permanence bursting. And yes, it's uncomfortable. But it's also the first step toward actually living, instead of sleepwalking through your days. The permanence illusion is comfortable. Reality is not. Choose reality anyway. Chapter 2. The present moment paradox. Everyone tells you to live in the moment, but nobody explains why it's nearly impossible. Here's why. Your mind is a time machine, and it's terrible at staying in the present. Your brain spends an estimated 47% of its waking hours thinking about something other than what you're currently doing. You're eating dinner, but mentally rehearsing tomorrow's meeting. You're with your kids, but scrolling through yesterday's problems. You're everywhere except here. This creates the presence deficit. You're alive, but you're not present for your own life. Think about yesterday. Can you remember it in detail? Most people can't, because they weren't fully there. They were on autopilot, consciousness dimmed, going through the motions while their mind wandered elsewhere. You're losing days to this absent-minded existence. Whole weeks vanish. Years become a blur. Not because time speeds up, but because you're not recording the experience. Your consciousness is like a camera that's never focused. Here's what happens. You arrive home and can't remember the drive. You finish a meal and can't recall tasting it. You complete an entire conversation and couldn't repeat what was said. Your body showed up. Your mind was somewhere else entirely. This is how people lose their lives one distracted moment at a time. But here's the paradox. The present moment is the only time you actually possess. The past is a memory. The future is imagination. This second, right now, is the only real estate you own in the universe of time. Everything else is fiction. The past exists only as neural patterns in your brain. The future is pure speculation. But this moment, this breath, this sensation, real, tangible, yours. Yet you trade this one real moment for 1,000 imaginary ones. You sacrifice what's actually happening for what might happen or what already happened. So why do we avoid it? Because the present often contains discomfort, boredom, anxiety, difficult emotions. It's easier to escape into mental time travel than to feel what's happening now. The present demands something from you: attention, vulnerability, the willingness to feel what you're feeling without immediately reaching for a distraction. Most people can't sit in silence for 5 minutes without pulling out their phone. Not because the moment is unbearable, but because they've lost the capacity to simply be. We've become addicted to elsewhere, to the next thing, to anywhere but here. Sitting in traffic, check your phone. Waiting in line, scroll social media. Quiet moment with your thoughts, turn on a podcast. We've filled every gap, every pause, every moment of potential presence with noise. The present has become something to escape rather than inhabit. Here's a radical practice. Embrace radical presence. When you're with someone, be completely with them. Phone away, mind here. When you're eating, taste your food. When you're walking, feel your feet hitting the ground. Your brain will resist. It'll say this is boring or you're wasting time. That's the addiction to distraction talking. That voice telling you to check your notifications, to plan ahead, to solve that problem, to do anything except be here. That's not wisdom. That's habit. That's fear of the present moment's rawness. Being present isn't comfortable at first. You'll notice things you've been avoiding. You'll feel feelings you've been numbing. You'll realize how little attention you've been giving to your actual life. That awareness stings, but it also awakens. Try this experiment. For the next conversation you have, give someone 100% of your attention. Watch their face, hear their words, feel the connection. Notice how rare this has become. Notice how powerful it feels. Watch what happens. They'll sense it. People can tell when you're truly listening versus waiting for your turn to talk. They can feel the difference between someone who's present and someone whose mind is elsewhere. And you'll feel it too. The depth of connection, the richness of the exchange, the way time slows down when you're actually in it instead of rushing through it. The irony? The more present you are, the more time seems to expand. Not because you're doing more, but because you're actually experiencing what you're doing. Distracted living compresses time. Days blend together because you weren't really there for them. But presence expands time. One fully experienced hour contains more life than a week of autopilot existence. Your life isn't measured in years. It's measured in moments of genuine presence. How many do you actually have? Chapter 3. The courage to choose. Most people don't make choices. They make compromises. They drift. They let circumstances decide. They stay in jobs they hate because it's secure. They remain in relationships that drain them because it's comfortable. They postpone their dreams because it's realistic. But here's the brutal truth. Not choosing is still a choice, and it's usually the worst one. Every day you stay in a situation you've outgrown, you're choosing it. Every day you don't pursue what matters, you're choosing distraction. The lack of a decision is a decision to stay exactly where you are. You're voting with your time, with your energy, with your life force. And right now, you're casting your vote for the status quo, for mediocrity, for fine. Fine is a slow death. It's the invisible killer, because fine doesn't hurt enough to force change. It's just uncomfortable enough to make you unhappy, but not uncomfortable enough to make you move. So you stay. One more year, then another. Then a decade has passed and you're still in the same place, wondering where your life went. Here's what nobody tells you. The pain of staying eventually exceeds the pain of leaving. But by the time you realize this, you've wasted years you can't get back. You've trained yourself to tolerate intolerable situations. You've normalized your own unhappiness. Think about this. You'll die with your music still inside you. Not because you weren't talented enough or lucky enough, but because you chose safety over expression. You chose comfort over courage. You had something to say, something to create, something to offer the world, but you kept it locked inside, protecting it from judgment, from failure, from the vulnerability of being seen. And one day, it'll be too late. Your song dies with you, unheard, unsung, unlived. The graveyard is full of unexpressed potential. Books never written, businesses never started, art never created, conversations never had, all because someone chose silence over risk. What would you do if you knew you had exactly 1 year left? Not 5 years, not someday, 1 year. Would you stay in that job? Would you avoid that conversation? Would you keep postponing that project? Suddenly the calculation changes, doesn't it? That safe job becomes a prison sentence. That postponed dream becomes urgent. That difficult conversation becomes necessary. The truth is, you might only have 1 year. You might have less. Nobody knows their expiration date. So why are you living like you have unlimited time to waste on things that don't matter? Here's what stops most people. The illusion of low-risk living. You think playing it safe is the careful choice, but safety is the riskiest bet of all, because the only guaranteed failure is never trying. Playing it safe guarantees one thing. You'll reach the end of your life wondering, what if? What if I'd tried? What if I'd spoken up? What if I'd taken the leap? Those questions will haunt you more than any failure ever could, because failure is just data. It's feedback. It's proof you tried. But never trying? That's a permanent wound that never heals. Risk feels dangerous, but the real danger is dying without ever having truly lived. That's the ultimate risk, and it's the one most people are taking right now. There's a concept called decision debt. Every time you postpone an important choice, interest accumulates. That relationship you're tolerating, it's not getting better with time. That dream you're deferring, the window is closing. That conflict you're avoiding, it's compounding. Decision debt works like financial debt. The longer you wait, the more expensive it becomes. That conversation you should have had 6 months ago, now it's loaded with 6 months of resentment. That career move you delayed, now you're 6 months further from where you want to be. And unlike financial debt, you can't declare bankruptcy on decision debt. You carry it until you address it. It weighs on you, it leaks into your thoughts, it robs your sleep, it steals your peace. The interest never stops accumulating. Every day of avoidance makes the eventual decision harder, messier, more painful. Make the hard call. Have the difficult conversation. Take the uncertain leap. Because regret for action fades. Regret for inaction haunts. You'll recover from a failed attempt. You'll learn from a wrong turn. You'll adapt after a mistake. But you never recover from never trying. That regret calcifies. It becomes part of your identity. I'm the person who didn't. Action creates closure. Even if it doesn't work out, at least you know. You tried. You lived. You took your shot. But inaction creates a wound that never closes, a question that never gets answered. Here's your exercise. Identify one decision you've been avoiding, not a small one, the big one that keeps you up at night. Now ask yourself, if I had 6 months to live, would this decision make itself? The answer you feel in your gut? That's your answer. You already know what you need to do. You've probably known for a while. The only question is, will you do it before it's too late? Stop negotiating with yourself. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop collecting more information. You're not confused. You're scared. And that's okay. Do it scared. Your future self is either going to thank you or resent you. Which one will it be? Chapter 4. The Relationship Reckoning. You will outlive people you love, or they will outlive you. Either way, every relationship has an expiration date that neither of you can see. That changes everything. Most people interact with loved ones as if there's unlimited runway. They save their best self for strangers and give their worst self to family. They postpone quality time for later. They let small resentments become walls. Think about how you treat a stranger versus how you treat your mother. The stranger gets your patience, your smile, your courtesy. Your mother gets your irritation, your short answers, your assumption that she'll always be there to receive your mood. You wouldn't dream of speaking to a colleague the way you speak to your partner. You wouldn't cancel on a client the way you cancel on your sibling. You wouldn't ignore a stranger's message for 3 days the way you ignore your old friend's text. We reserve our worst behavior for the people who matter most. Why? Because we believe they're permanent fixtures. Because we think we have endless opportunities to make it right. Because we take them for granted. We'll reconnect after this busy season. I'll visit once things calm down. I'll tell them how I feel when the timing is better. The timing will never be better. And one day, there will be no more timing. That busy season never ends. Things never calm down. There's always another reason to wait, another excuse to postpone, another justification for not showing up. And then the phone rings. Or you get the news. Or time simply runs out. And suddenly all those reasons evaporate into the meaningless nothing they always were. You'd give anything for one more conversation, one more meal together, one more chance to say what you should have said, but the opportunity is gone, permanently. Here's what matters in relationships: presence over perfection. People don't remember your achievements. They remember how you made them feel. They remember whether you showed up, whether you listened, whether you cared. Your success at work won't comfort anyone at your funeral. Your impressive resume won't be what people talk about. They'll talk about the time you were there when they needed you, or the time you weren't. Nobody's going to remember that you were busy. They're going to remember that you were absent. Think about the last meaningful conversation you had with someone you love. Not small talk, not logistics, deep connection. When was it? If you can't remember, that's your answer. You're living in proximity without connection, sharing space without sharing souls. You know their schedule, but not their struggles. You see them regularly, but don't really see them. Most relationships die from starvation, not from conflict. They fade because nobody feeds them. Because both people assume there's always tomorrow, for depth, for vulnerability, for truth. There's a simple but powerful practice: the last time lens. Treat every interaction like it could be the final one. Not in a morbid way, but in a present way. Would you rush that phone call with your parent if you knew it was the last? Would you skip that dinner with your friend if you knew they'd be gone next month? You wouldn't. You'd savor every second. You'd pay attention to their voice, their face, their presence. You'd say the things that matter. You'd let the petty things go. So why are you waiting for a crisis to give them that attention? Why does someone have to be dying before you treat them like they're precious? They are dying. Everyone is. The question is whether you'll realize it while there's still time to love them properly. You don't need grand gestures. You need consistent presence. That text, just to say, "I'm thinking of you." That surprise visit. That, "I'm sorry you've been holding back." That "I love you" you assume they already know. Stop assuming they know. Tell them. Often. Specifically. Without waiting for a special occasion. "I love you because of how you. I appreciate when you." I'm grateful that you. These words cost nothing but mean everything. And those small moments, they compound. That random Tuesday coffee, that unexpected phone call, that no-reason hug. These are the deposits that make a relationship rich. People don't need you to be impressive. They need you to be present. They need your attention, your time, your genuine interest in their life. Here's what most people miss. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. That grudge you're nurturing, it's poisoning you, not them. That relationship you're letting die over pride, pride is worthless in a cemetery. You're carrying this weight. You're the one replaying the hurt. You're the one stewing in resentment while they're probably out living their life. Who's being punished here? Forgiveness doesn't mean what they did was okay. It means you're no longer willing to carry the burden of hatred. It means you're choosing freedom over being right. And that relationship you're letting rot, what exactly are you proving? That you're too proud to bend? That you're too stubborn to reach out first? Congratulations. You win the prize of isolation. Meanwhile, time is ticking. Their health is declining. Your opportunities are shrinking. And your pride is standing guard over a relationship graveyard. Do the reconciliation now. Say the words now. Show up now. Because tomorrow might not come, and I wish I had, are the four most painful words in the English language. I wish I had called more. I wish I had visited. I wish I had said I love you. I wish I had forgiven them. I wish I had one more chance. You have that chance right now. Today. This hour. Use it before it becomes another regret you can't fix. Chapter 5. The Experience Imperative. You're collecting the wrong things. Most people spend their lives accumulating possessions, achievements, and credentials, while experiences slip through their fingers like water. Here's the reality. Your memories are your only permanent possessions. Everything else gets left behind. That car you're saving for? Someone else will drive it. That house? Someone else will live in it. But that trip you took, that conversation you had, that risk you embraced, those die with you. Walk into any estate sale. Look at the stuff. Someone spent decades collecting it. Now strangers are haggling over the price. That expensive watch? $3. Those carefully chosen decorations? Trash pile. The things they worked overtime to afford? Worthless. But the experiences they had? Those went with them. The sunset they watched from that mountain. The night they danced in the rain. The moment they told someone they loved them. Those weren't for sale because they can't be separated from the person who lived them. You can't inherit experiences. You can't auction them. You can't divide them among relatives. They exist only in the consciousness that created them. There's a concept called experiential wealth. It's the richness of your internal life, the stories you've lived, the moments that took your breath away, the times you felt truly alive. This is the only wealth you actually possess. Not your net worth, not your portfolio, not your title or status, just the accumulated moments of genuine aliveness. Some people are experientially bankrupt. They have money but no memories worth keeping. They have success but no stories worth telling. They've climbed ladders but never felt their heart race from taking a real risk. They're rich in things and poor in life. But here's what blocks most people. They're waiting for permission. Permission to take the trip. Permission to try something new. Permission to be spontaneous. They're waiting for more money, more time, more certainty. Who are you waiting for permission from? Your boss? Society? Some imaginary authority figure who will one day tell you it's okay to start living? That permission slip is never coming. You're waiting for someone to approve your life while your life is evaporating. You're not going to get more time. You're losing time every second you wait. Every day you postpone that experience is a day you'll never get back. That trip you'll take next year, what if next year doesn't come? What if your health changes? What if the person you wanted to go with is gone? The window for any given experience is always smaller than you think. Your body won't always be capable. Your responsibilities will multiply. The people you want to share it with won't always be available. Right now is the most available you'll ever be for that experience. Tomorrow you'll have one more reason not to do it. Think about the deathbed perspective. Nobody lying there thinking about their final days wishes they'd worked more hours or bought a bigger TV. They wish they'd taken the trip, learned the language, started the business, told the truth, danced more, worried less. They don't regret the things they splurged on. They regret the experiences they denied themselves, the adventures they talked themselves out of, the moments they sacrificed for security that meant nothing in the end. They wish they'd been braver, bolder, more willing to look foolish, more willing to fail, more willing to say why not, instead of maybe someday. Your future self is begging you to be braver today. That person lying in a hospital bed decades from now, looking back at your current life, what do they want you to do? What risks do they wish you'd taken? What experiences do they wish you hadn't postponed? You already know the answer. You can feel it. That pull towards something more. That whisper saying yes, while your rational mind screams no. Here's a powerful exercise. Create your anti-bucket list. Not things you want to do, but things you're currently doing that you need to stop. The obligations you accepted out of guilt, the habits draining your energy, the commitments stealing your time. What are you saying yes to that's killing you? What meetings could you skip? What social obligations could you drop? What expectations could you stop trying to meet? Most people add to their lives without subtracting. They pile on new commitments while keeping all the old ones. Then they wonder why they have no time for what matters. Subtraction is more powerful than addition. What you stop doing creates space for what you should be doing. Every yes to something meaningless is a no to something meaningful. Your time is a zero-sum game. When you commit to that committee you don't care about, you're stealing from the project that matters. When you attend that obligation dinner, you're canceling the adventure you actually want. When you say yes to keep the peace, you're saying no to your own life. Your calendar is full of things you don't want to do. Why? Because you haven't learned that no is a complete sentence. Start saying no to good opportunities so you can say yes to great ones. Disappoint some people today so you don't disappoint yourself forever. Some people will be upset. Let them be. Their disappointment in you is temporary. Your disappointment in yourself for not living your life, that's permanent. You cannot please everyone and live an authentic life. Choose the authentic life. The right people will understand. The wrong people don't matter. And here's the secret about experiences. They don't require money. They require courage. A genuine conversation is an experience. Trying something you've never done is an experience. Being vulnerable is an experience. Helping a stranger is an experience. You're not too broke for experiences. You're too scared. That walk in a new neighborhood costs nothing. That honest conversation is free. That attempt at something new requires zero budget. Money is the excuse, not the barrier. The barrier is your willingness to feel uncomfortable, to risk looking stupid, to try something with an uncertain outcome. The most memorable experiences are often the ones that cost the least. The spontaneous road trip, the midnight conversation, the moment you tried something terrifying and survived. Stop postponing the extraordinary life you're capable of living. Start now. Today. This hour. What experience have you been putting off? What's the smallest version of it you could do right now? Not the perfect version, not the someday version, the right now version. Do that. Even if it's imperfect, even if it's incomplete, because an imperfect experience lived is infinitely more valuable than a perfect experience postponed forever. What will remain when you're gone? Not your bank account, not your job title, not your social media following. Your legacy is simple. It's the lives you've touched and the positive change you've created. But here's what most people get wrong about legacy. They think it requires grand actions, building a company, creating art, changing the world. So they do nothing, waiting for the big opportunity to make an impact. Legacy is built in small moments. The kindness you showed when nobody was watching, the person you helped when there was nothing in it for you, the child you encouraged, the truth you spoke, the example you set. Every interaction is a legacy deposit. You're either making someone's life slightly better or slightly worse. There's no neutral. Think about the people who've impacted your life most. Were they billionaires? Probably not. They were probably someone who saw you, believed in you, challenged you, or simply showed up when it mattered. You have that same power right now. Here's the legacy test. Imagine someone giving a speech about you after you're gone. What would you want them to say? Now ask yourself, are you living in a way that would make that speech true? The gap between who you are and who you want to be remembered as? That's your work. Most people spend their lives building monuments to themselves. Impressive careers, beautiful homes, perfect social media feeds. But monuments crumble. Impact echoes. Start building your echo today. Help someone who can't help you back. Share what you know. Create something that outlasts you. Stand for something that matters. Your life is your message to the world. What are you saying? Here's the final truth. You can't add days to your life, but you can add life to your days. You can't control how many years you get, but you can control how much living you squeeze into those years. Most people aren't really living. They're existing, going through motions, following scripts, waiting for permission, preparing for a future that may never arrive. Living fully isn't reckless. It's intentional. It means making conscious choices instead of default ones. It means feeling deeply instead of numbing constantly. It means taking meaningful risks instead of playing it safe. Every morning you wake up is a gift you didn't earn and don't deserve. You've been given another 24 hours. What will you do with this unrepeatable day? Will you waste it on resentment, on fear, on tasks that don't matter? Or will you use it to connect, create, explore, and grow? Here's your final practice. The evening reflection. Before sleep, ask yourself 3 questions. Was I present today? Did I show love today? Did I live courageously today? If the answer is no, you get another chance tomorrow. If you're lucky, because tomorrow isn't guaranteed. It never was. The only moment you truly have is right now. This breath, this heartbeat, this choice. Stop rehearsing for a life you're going to live later. This is it. You're in the show right now. The curtain is up, the audience is watching, and the clock is ticking. You've reached the end of this video, but this is the beginning of something more important. Your real life. The one you stop postponing and start living. Death isn't the tragedy. The tragedy is dying without ever having truly lived. It's reaching the end and realizing you spent your whole life in the waiting room, preparing for a main event that never came. You are the main event. Right now. Today. This moment. So call that person. Book that trip. Start that project. Have that conversation. Take that risk. Say those words. Make that change. Not someday. Today. Because tomorrow isn't guaranteed. But today is here. And you're still breathing. What are you going to do with that gift? The clock is ticking. Your life is happening. Don't miss it.